Today on Nursing Matters, how to get promoted when no one is watching. I'm Christina, and this is your daily dose. Let's get into it. Because I want to start with a hard truth that a lot of nurses don't like to hear until it's too late. Working hard is not the same thing as being recognized. And being recognized is not the same thing as being promoted. You can be one of the strongest nurses in your unit. You can carry your team, and you can be the person that everyone trusts, and you'll still get passed over. Not because you're not ready, but because no one has connected the dots for you. So today, we're going to talk about how promotions actually happen and how to position yourself for them, even when no one is paying attention. A study found that nurses who actively sought feedback and documented their professional accomplishments were 3 times more likely to advance into leadership roles within 5 years. 3 times more likely. Let's be clear about what that means. Not 10% more likely, not slightly ahead. 3 times more likely. And it wasn't because they were smarter. It wasn't because they worked harder. It wasn't because they stayed later or picked up more shifts. It was because they made their value visible. That's the difference. And this is where there's a major disconnect in nursing culture, because a lot of nurses were trained either formally or informally to believe if I just do good work, someone will notice. And I understand where that belief comes from. In a perfect system, that would be true. But in reality, leaders are managing large teams, constant staffing issues, operational pressures, and administrative demands. They're not walking the floor documenting every moment of excellence. They're relying on what they can see, track, and recall. And if your work is not captured in a way that's visible to them, it might as well not exist when promotion decisions are being made. That's not fair, but it is real. And once you understand that, you can start to work with it instead of being blindsided by it. If you're ready to take control of your nursing career, start by liking and subscribing so you stay connected here. And then visit rnnet.org. It's where we go deeper with real tools and opportunities. rnnet.org. Let's get back into it. Now, I've spent years in talent acquisition and leadership conversations. I've sat in rooms where promotions are being decided, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happens. It's not a detailed breakdown of every nurse's daily performance. It's not a perfect evaluation of who works the hardest. It's a conversation that sounds more like this: who's ready, who's shown leadership, and who stands out. And then the names get brought up. And those names are usually tied to one of 3 things. They are visibility, documentation, and advocacy. So let me break that down. When we talk about visibility, that's the people who know who you are and what you do. Documentation, there's evidence of your contributions to the organization. And advocacy, someone in leadership is speaking on your behalf. If you are missing one of those, you're at a disadvantage. And here's where a lot of incredible nurses get stuck. They have the performance, but they don't have the visibility. They assume their work speaks for itself, and sometimes it does, but only in that moment. Not in the meeting where decisions are made, because no one's pulling up a mental highlight reel of your best shifts. They're going off what's documented or what's been communicated. Now, let's talk about something that makes a lot of people uncomfortable: self-promotion. In nursing, it almost feels like a bad word. There's this belief that talking about your accomplishments is arrogant, unprofessional, or somehow taking away from the team. And I want to challenge that, because there is a massive difference between arrogance and clarity. Arrogance says, I'm better than everyone else. Clarity says, here's the value that I bring. Those are not the same thing. And if you don't communicate your value, you are expecting someone else to interpret it perfectly. That's a risky strategy in my viewpoint. I've seen extraordinary nurses, truly exceptional, get passed over again and again because they stayed quiet, because they assumed their manager knew everything they were doing, because they didn't want to brag. And at the same time, I've seen average performers move up quickly, not because they were better clinically, but because they knew how to document what they did, speak to their contributions, and position their experience in a way leadership could understand. And that's the part nobody likes to admit. Promotion is not just about performance, it's about perception of performance. And perception is built through what is seen, said, and recorded. Now, before that gets misinterpreted, this is not about playing politics. It's about making sure your work has a voice, even when you're not in the room. Because if you don't give your work a voice, it stays invisible. And invisible work does not get promoted. So here's the thing I want you to do starting today. Create a running document called My Wins. That's it. It can be in your notes app, a Google Doc, or a notebook. I don't really care where it lives. I care that it exists. And every time you do something you're proud of, you write it down. Not just once a month, not at review time, in real time. Here's what qualifies as a win. A patient outcome you impacted. A process you improved. A moment where you led under pressure. A difficult family conversation you navigated. A time you supported a teammate or solved a problem. Write down what happened, what you did, and what was the outcome. Simple, clear, specific. Because here's what happens otherwise. Review time comes or a leadership opportunity opens up and someone asks, "Tell me about your impact," and you freeze. Not because you don't have impact, but because you haven't captured it. This document changes that. It gives you language, it gives you confidence, and it gives you proof. And when you walk into that conversation, you're not trying to remember, you're presenting evidence. And that's what decision makers respond to. You're not bragging, you are building a case. And the nurses who move forward are the ones who can clearly articulate why they should. So if you take nothing else from today, take this. Hard work alone is not a promotion strategy. Visibility is. Clarity is. Documentation is. And you don't need to wait for someone to notice you. To start building that, start capturing your value now. So when the opportunity comes, you're not hoping to be seen, you already are. This is Nursing Matters, and this is how careers actually move forward behind the scenes. If this episode helped you, send it to a nurse who's ready for more but doesn't know how to get there, because this is the shift that changes everything. That's your daily dose. I'm Christina. Keep showing up because nursing matters. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Nursing Matters Daily Dose. Are you interested in more career resources? Then hop on over to the RN Network at rnnet.org. Also, while you're at it, hit that like and subscribe button and share this episode with one nurse who really needs to hear it. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.